Watch this.
It's Choose Your Own Adventure for Boise taxpayers. How would they like to pay for new utility water treatment facilities? Now or over time? A central Idaho school district has already made news for its decision on vaccine mandates for some staff. That could soon be expanded. Only a handful of people have ever made it to the top of Idaho's mountaintops, and that elite group now includes a Ketchum fourth grader who set his mind to climbing the highest peaks just last spring. Well, thanks for joining us on your Wednesday evening here on the 208. Election Day quickly approaching, believe it or not. We're only about 3 weeks away. Now, this time around, there's no presidential race on the ballot, but there are certainly items up for vote that will impact your daily life here in the state of Idaho. Ahead of the election, again, November 2nd, we're taking a look at some ballot items, and specifically ballot items that could be confusing to voters. Boise voters will see a massive wall of text on their ballot about a bond for the Boise City Sewer District. And we know that sometimes those daunting explanations of what you're voting on the ballot, well, the whole thing can be confusing. So today we went right to the expert to explain what you are and are not voting for on November 2nd in Boise. When Boise voters go to the polls on November 2nd, they will see this large ballot item titled Boise City Sewer District Bond. So what does all of this mean?
What's on the ballot is really how we're going to fund the water renewal utility plan.
That's City of Boise Public Works Director Steve Burgos. He sets the scene for us. The ballot item is asking how taxpayers want to fund a collection of already approved water renewal utility projects.
So over the last 5 years, we've been working with the community on how best to plan for the future of water renewal services, wastewater treatment.
That includes repairing, rebuilding, and reinvigorating facilities like this, the Landers Street Water Renewal Facility in northwest Boise. Some parts of this facility are more than 50 years old and badly needing upgrades.
Now what we're asking the citizens is how best to pay for it. How would you like to pay for it? Traditionally, we've gone cash as you go. We paid cash. We know the needs are significant moving forward. And so we do have another option that potentially could help address near-term affordability issues in Boise. And that option is to potentially take out bond financing in combination with cash to then lower upfront rate increases and make our utility a little more affordable here in the near term.
So a yes vote means that you're in favor of the 30-year bonding process, and that comes with a monthly bill increase of about $3.64 for the average customer. A no vote means you do not want Boise to bond the project and would like to see approved projects paid for in the traditional way, cash. Now that option would translate to a $19.50 month raise in water renewal services. No matter the outcome, both options will go into effect January 1st, 2022.
If you went cash, it would be more upfront for current ratepayers. If you went the bond route, it would cost more over the life of the 30 years because you're paying interest. But we'd be able to smooth out those rate increases over time and have them more predictable and certainly lower upfront.
It's an equation with financial ramifications for every Boise taxpayer.
So that's one of the reasons we're pursuing the bond election, is to hear from voters. And it's a tool that we can use to help address affordability issues. And so that's why we want to put it on the ballot in the interest of transparency, and let us know what you think.
So they want to hear from you. Vote on November 2nd. If you have a ballot or voting question for us, please share it with us. Text, email, social media message, voicemail, whatever you want. You can also keep an eye out for the KTVB voter guide on ktvb.com. If you're thinking, well, I don't live in Boise, that doesn't affect me. No problem. The voter guide goes statewide. And remember, Idahoans, you only get to complain about the elections if you vote. Quick update for you. Former state representative Aaron Von Ellinger made his first appearance, albeit virtually, in Idaho courtroom this morning. As we've reported, Von Ellinger is accused of raping a former statehouse staffer, referred to as Jane Doe, back in March. After a 6-month investigation, Von Ellinger was arrested in late September as he got off a flight from Central America and spent 2 weeks in a Clayton County, Georgia jail before he was sent back to Idaho last week. He's currently out on bond on his own recognizance out of the jail. Now, during today's hearing, Von Ellinger spoke very little to the judge, but said he was aware of the charges against him, which include felony rape. He was told to have no contact with Jane Doe in the interim. He's due back in court for a preliminary hearing on October 29th. If convicted, Von Ellinger could face up to life in prison, and he may be ordered to register as a sex offender. The Wood River Valley was one of the first and hardest hit places in the country at the start of the COVID pandemic. Back in March of 2020, that area saw hundreds of COVID cases quickly spread from town to town. Today, though, the county has the highest rate of vaccination in the entire state. Right now, 95% of its residents 12 and older are fully vaccinated. Statewide, over 805,000 Idahoans over the age of 12 are completely vaccinated against COVID-19. That's about 53% of that population. Compare that to the national average of about 66%. But going back to Blaine County, last month we told you about the Blaine County School District's Board of Trustees voting 4-1 to require all new hires to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Well, last night, during their regularly scheduled board meeting, they included an item on their information agenda that would extend that requirement to all staff.
Mandatory vaccination has been a part of school policies throughout the state and throughout the United States for decades. This isn't something new. This isn't something that was invented when this board took over or when COVID hit this district. Vaccination for school purposes has been challenged before, and the courts have consistently held that schools have the right to do that. I don't want to, and I'm sure no one else wants to force anybody to do anything, but student achievement is what rules here. Students can't achieve if they're not in class. Students can't achieve if they do not have teachers in front of the class teaching.
That's Chairman of the board, Keith Rourke, who you just heard from there. He says that this year they've had 93% attendance and haven't had to close any of their schools because of a COVID outbreak this year. Last year they were in hybrid learning, though, because of community spread. Now, the chairman credits this year's attendance partly to the district's mask mandate, which has been in place since the beginning of the school year. And as far as the proposed vaccine mandate goes, because it was on the agenda for the first time, no vote was taken yesterday. It may be taken up again during the next school board meeting. If it does eventually pass, the district would become the first, if not one of the first districts in the state with the vaccine mandate for all school staff. Several cities in Blaine County are still under citywide mask mandates. On Monday, the South Central Public Health District listed Blaine County and surrounding counties in the critical risk category for potential spread. Well, we're just about halfway through the month of October. Have you thanked a healthcare worker yet? Earlier this week, Governor Brad Little officially proclaimed the month of October as Idaho Healthcare Worker Appreciation Month. Not that we need to just have 1 month to do that, but it is important to point out, and it's something we should be doing every single day, especially now, as our hospitals are still under heavy pressure operating under crisis standards of care. A simple thank you or a smile and a wave really does go a long way. We've asked frontline healthcare workers about this, and they tell us it matters to them. But we've seen a lot of creative ways that some of the kids in our community have been going to thank our healthcare workers, and we want to highlight these. Like these kids from St. Joe's Catholic School in Boise. They made signs and stood outside St. Alphonsus. There it is, there they are. They're from St. Joe's. They stood outside St. Alphonsus during a recent shift change, and they cheered and handed out treats to all the staff that stopped by. Or how about this? We have members of a church group in Caldwell writing messages for their healthcare workers at West Valley Medical Center. This was just last week. Again, you don't have to go do something huge or elaborate or grand. A simple Facebook post can do the trick, or just saying thank you to someone you know in healthcare. You can even text us and we'll share your messages of thanks during future shows. Again, nothing is too small. But what I have heard from all the healthcare workers we spoke with over the last few months, the best thing you can do, they say, to show appreciation, they ask you get a vaccine. Again, experts tell us that they are safe and effective. At just 9 years old, this Ketchum kid has already seen more of Idaho than most of us will in our entire lives. And we want to know, what is your favorite spot in Idaho? Is there a hidden gem you're willing to share? Or maybe someplace you think everyone should visit at least once? Text us to tell us about it, 208-321-5614. Just make sure to include your name in the hashtag #the208. We'll share some of your responses at the end of the show, and who knows? Maybe your idea could spark a future Get to Know Idaho segment. So stay tuned.
tonight.
Well, most of us have made some sort of big accomplishments in our lives, whether it's graduating from college, buying the new house or car, getting married or engaged, or having kids. A lot of great things going on out there, but usually things come later in life. But for Camden, from Ketchum, he didn't want to wait until he was older to accomplish his dreams. No. So he set out to climb every single 12,000-foot peak in Idaho, all 9 of them, at the ripe age of 9.
My first name is Camden.
This is Camden Patry. He's 9 and in 4th grade. But to him, those numbers don't matter. The numbers that do are measured in feet.
It actually was like in June 26th was when I summited my first peak, Hyman Peak.
Camden set a goal to climb all of Idaho's 12,000-foot peaks, or 12ers, and in one summer, he did just that.
Woohoo! He did it!
I can't believe
I
it!
saw the video. You seemed pretty excited to be at the top of the very 9th one. What was it like to get there?
It felt like so good. I felt like it was like such a good feeling that I couldn't keep the smile off my face when I got to the top of my final 12er.
Were you kind of sad, like, oh, this is my last 12er, or were you like, oh, finally, we're done?
Well, I mean, a lot of them were super, super tough. But a lot of them were really fun. I was kind of sad and happy that they were done.
I want to know why you decided to hike all the 12ers in Idaho.
I decided this because, well, I have 2 friends. They were 8 and 6 when they did all the 12ers. They're the 2 youngest to do all of them, and they inspired me when I was 7 years old.
He did. He started talking about it last year, and so we said, well, that's a big goal, so why don't we study the mountains, see what they're like, see how hard they are, map them out. And so over the winter, we did a lot of that. He spent a lot of time on Google Earth and reading climbing books. But it was always his idea. This was not something we pushed on him. This was his goal that he set for himself.
There were some points when Mom got really nervous.
That's because it's hard sometimes to watch a 9-year-old boy out on a knife edge ridge.
Yeah.
But I was confident, and you were confident, and we were also cautious. We never did anything that we thought was too dangerous.
If we thought it was too dangerous, we wouldn't do it.
But there were moments where Camden says his confidence would slip away.
Do you ever just want to stop and turn around?
Only when it gets really, really freaky and scary. Like when I'm like, oh no, there's no way we're getting up this. If I do, I might get seriously hurt or die. But my second 12er, and remember Diamond Peak? Mom?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not, well, it wasn't even the hardest part, but I actually took a tumble on a ski slope on the way down.
But Camden and his parents made sure that they were all geared up when the mission began. To train, they hiked the 10 highest peaks in the Smoky Mountains.
Let's talk about when you get older. Is this something you want to do for the rest of your life? You know, someday going without mom and dad?
Yeah, I do. Like, I have really big goals set for myself. Like, I want to do all the state high points, which I've only done one so far, Idaho's. And I also want to do Mount Everest sometime when I'm like really, really experienced.
For Camden,
woohoo! Let's get some hands in the air.
Climbing to the top of Idaho's highest points was just a small chapter in his big journey ahead.
We'll keep hiking with him until he gets a little older and maybe doesn't want to hike with mom and dad anymore.
Maybe until I'm like maybe in my mid to late teens.
Well, thank you so much, Camden, for rushing home from school to talk to Katya. That's a real superstar. I am curious, though, is he the youngest to do all the 12ers?
So he's the fourth youngest. The youngest is actually his friend he was talking about. He was only 6 years old, and he did that in 2019. He hiked all the 12ers in Idaho at 6 years old, and Camden said he was the one, him and his brother, who motivated him to do this. But I think regardless, like his drive and his, he wants to climb every highest peak in the entire country, and that's something I think we could all use, that drive at just 9 years old. It's incredible.
Well, not just all the peaks in the country, he's going for Everest eventually. So Camden, good luck. We hope to follow your journey when you do go to Everest. Send us some pictures, but
can't wait.
We're going to take a break. 208 will return after this. Make sure to send us your thoughts and questions and anything. There's the number, 208-321-5614.
Beautiful shot there in Idaho. We're going to get back to that, okay? Getting those temperatures up. Maybe not quite as warm as what they were when that picture was taken. Well, there we go. There's a freeze warning for tonight. Temperatures will be down anywhere between about 29 to about 33 degrees. Boise will be down to about 32 for the low. If you look at the current, there's Boise, Nampa, McCall, here's Haley, and then you can see Twin Falls with 44 degrees. So temperatures are on the chilly side, even for your currents. And tonight, you can see the drop in temperature, dropping all the way down to 32 degrees by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Keep that in mind. At freeze warning, you're going to have frost around in spots as well. And some areas could even have some spots of fog. Sounds like I'm talking tea. Spotted tea, no, areas of fog. But anyhow, that will be around the valley for tonight. As you look at the futurecast, you see there's some snow up here around Stanley, and it's very light, but they've had about 2 or 3 inches so far, so they're going to have a little more. Watch how the clouds start coming down. Here they are. Start coming down through here, and it clears up. That clearing is what's really going to drop our temperatures for this evening. Tomorrow's a sunny day. It's just kind of cool and breezy in the afternoon, but the temperature should get above 50 degrees. We'll be up around 53, 54. So that's about a jump of about another 4 to 6 degrees somewhere along through there from what you see on this map, because it was just Monday, a week from this last Monday, that we were nearly 90. And now, boom, there's 46. That's our high so far today. And of course, that's on Wednesday. So let's talk about Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but especially Saturday with 60 degrees. That's the beginning of the game for BSU and Air Force, okay? Albertson Stadium, it looks like it's going to be fantastic. Temperatures will be the lower to the mid-50s in the second half. It is basically sunshine. So Twin Falls will be 46 as you look at the temperatures. Yeah, upper 40s for tomorrow, most of the Magic Valley. Sun Valley will be just above 40 degrees tomorrow. Same thing for Haley. McCall, same way. Donnelly, Cascade, just above 40 degrees. Down here in valley locations, we're looking at highs just getting above 54, 55, 56. There's the 54 for Boise, 55 for Meridian. 7-day forecast. See, 54 for tomorrow. Then it does warm up. 63 Friday, Saturday, Sunday getting closer to 70. Next week comes down into the 50s to some mid-60s.
Well, as this week felt like the really first cold day of the season for anyone else, I tried to take Bosco out in my shorts, quickly had to go in and put pants back on, so that's where we're at. But the cold mixed with wind and occasional rainstorms makes it really hard to get up and get out of bed in the morning, like this weekend where it was sunny for a few hours, but then the rain and wind came in. But that didn't deter some of you from getting outside and capturing some of the cloud formations before they passed by. Check out these photos sent to us via our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook group. All right, it's the end of the hour, half hour. You know what that means. Let's take a look at some of your comments. This one first, hashtag the 208. Is there a chance the MyPillow guy will demand an audit of the sewer bond vote? Somehow that would seem appropriate. You know, at this point, nothing surprises me, so I'll never say never. Of note, though, you referenced the MyPillow guy. We'll find out next week what the Secretary of State's office is going to bill him for their audit they had to do after he put Idaho's election integrity into question. Here's a one. It says, I dare KTVB to go one whole week without talking about the COVID problem. There are so many other news items to talk about other than the virus. Care to take that dare? Well, unfortunately, we understand the sentiment, but no. Today, the state of Idaho reported 30 new deaths attributed to COVID. So this is still a very active and serious situation. Talk on a daily basis how hard this still is inside our hospitals for not only the frontline healthcare workers, but the patients that are being treated and their families. Do we wish we could ignore it and COVID would go away? Absolutely. Not how it works, though. Appreciate the sentiment, though. We got this one here. Oh, we asked for your favorite spots in Idaho. This one is from Laura. Coeur d'Alene is our favorite spot in Idaho, she says, and that is one of the best views in the whole state. I can tell you that. Finally here, we have this one. My favorite place is Chattanooga Hot Springs, just outside of Atlanta. And way to go, Camden, and a shout out to our medical heroes. That's from Al. Keep it up, Camden, and also keep it up, frontline healthcare workers. You are valued. We love you. We will see everyone tomorrow on the 208.